Here we go. All right, somebody say something. Sorry about that. Anybody?
Kyle, you're late.
I am.
There,
I know. I am tardy. I apologize. Way. All right. Hop into this thing. Yes, I am sorry, and it is on recording too. I am late. Oh, how is the studio, everyone? Anybody?
It wasn't good for me, so I'm looking forward to seeing how you're doing it.
That's not good to hear.
It's a lot of copy and paste, but actually understanding everything that's happening, not really, not so much. Not so much.
I understand it. We can just copy and paste it. All right, let's see. Let's hop
to what they said.
Well, let's see. I know it was a lot of material when I was going through our reading today. It was a ton of stuff, and it was hard to dive into that for just an hour. And we went over an hour, and I barely touched anything, so I completely get that. So let's go ahead and start sharing screen here.
Your boss, give me the copy paste stuff.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, my boss is like, "Can you copy and paste this into Visual Studio Code?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. This is why I'm paid."
Man, where do you work?
It's actually any development job, honestly.
Nice.
Right? I know you're in the right line of work. You're getting into it. Okay, there we go.
Everything's on Stack Overflow anyway.
Oh, basically, honestly. So, yeah, no, I completely agree. Honestly, any question you have about that, it's on Stack Overflow. You just copy and paste their algorithm. Somebody smarter out there has already done it. Sorry, I am in a whirlwind right now. I'm not gonna lie, it was connection issues, but also I was at dinner and I had to. This is gonna be all on recording too. I had to scooter back from where I am, so I had to take a Lime scooter, and I got lost because I went the completely wrong direction. So I got back like 5 minutes before we were supposed to start this, and of course my entire internet went down on this and then re-signed in and stuff. So I apologize, but those scooters, I wish they came with GPS. That's all I gotta say. All right, studio. Okay, deep breaths. Are we all good? Are we all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Any section in particular that you all would want me to focus on while we're going over this? Anything that really stood out to anybody?
The issues I had were with the functions. So that's really where my issues came, because definitions, that's the errors I kept getting with just definitions. So that's what I'm eager to see.
Okay, sounds good. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start here with 29.8 Studio Angular Part 2. At the end of the first mission plan in Studio, multiple components display data about the mission. Your job is to allow the user to update the mission plan by adding user interaction. All right, 29.8.1 getting started. For this studio and the next, you will clone some starter code from GitHub, fork the Angular mission plan repository. That's what we're gonna do. We click on that link, come up here, and before you even press that code button, I come to the top right, press fork. There we go. It's gonna clone this into my own GitHub, make its own repository so I can push to it without any repercussions, any security issues. So I copy that. I come over here. You know what? I'm gonna actually do this a little bit nicer for you all. Let me put that up there. Visual Studio Code. What I'm going to do is exit out of this guy and open up a new one. So I'm going to open up a fresh Visual Studio Code. I already copied that Git link. I press nothing. I go to terminal, new terminal, and I've opened up that. I do git clone, and then I paste that link in there. There we go. All right. So that is not where I wanted to paste that at all. I thought you would open up in the correct directory. So I'm going to do this. So go to desktop. I'll delete you later. CD into LC, CD into Angular, because I'm going to keep that in there. And now I'm going to type git clone. Make sure that you're in the right directory. Otherwise, you have to go back like me and delete that file later in my home directory. Okay, so we are all good there. I cloned it into my machine. So I'm going to press open now on Visual Studio Code. I'm going to go to desktop LC, Angular, and then find this Angular LC 101 mission planner. Press single click, press open, full screen that. Any questions up into this far? Make sure that I'm not missing. Why am I scrolling the wrong way there? There we go. All right, we are all good. So we have cloned it successfully. Let's go back now to the directions, which are going to be over here. Get on that way. There we go. All right, number 1 done. Number 2, in the terminal, navigate out of the project folder you used for part 1 and into your root Angular practice directory. All right. On your fork to your computer. Oh, okay. I was like, what are you talking about? Okay, so we already did this. So they were talking about the Angular practice directory. That was from a few studios ago or a few exercises ago. I put in my Angular directory. I don't call it Angular practice, so I apologize. I got a little confused there. So step 3 for clone your fork to your computer. We already did that by using git clone. On to number 4, git status to verify that you are on branch Studio 2. If not, git checkout. So that's what they're talking about there. As I go to terminal. New terminal, my allergies are killing me here. What I'm gonna do is type in git branch. It tells me what studio I'm on. So git branch, I see that studio-2 is highlighted in green, so I am correctly on the branch that I need to be on. I'm gonna do git status like it asked here. And it also told me on branch studio-2. So you can do either way to check what branch you're on, but I like to do git branch. That's my personal recommendation, but they say git status, do git status. We don't need to run git checkout, but remember git checkout is to get those branches. If you want to check out a specific branch, use git checkout. Git checkout and then the branch name. Okay, number 5, run npm install. So that's what we're going to do here. So we go down later. I swear I play hide and seek with this Zoom thing the whole time. So npm update. You can also run npm I or npm install too. We'll do the same thing. Let's do npm update because that's what it asked us to do. Any questions up to this point? Because we have some downtime. Dad jokes are also accepted. I asked one thing from this crowd, and it was to bring me dad jokes, and no one brought me dad jokes. My God.
Hey, we are busy. All right. We're
Okay.
trying not to get dropped
You know
from this
what?
class.
Okay,
It's go
Fair,
time now.
fair.
Like
okay. If you want one real bad,
I
How
do.
many
We have
coders-
some time.
how many coders does it take to ride a Lime bike?
Apparently, at least 2. One to drive and one to navigate it. I was missing the second this time.
okay, that was funny
Touche,
for real though.
Jason.
That was funny.
Ouch. Wasn't a dad joke. That was just brutal. Yeah. Oh my. Oh, and they had the audacity to send me a notification. Take 25% off your next 4 rides. No, thank you. I just paid you enough.
That was funny, man.
Oh my gosh. All right, keeping this going here. We ran the npm install to download the dependencies. And then we have the ng serve. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to say ng, then serve. There we go. How many coders does it take to ride a Lime bike? I like that. Oh, ng serve always takes forever. Anybody got a favorite part about Angular they like so far? Let's get big hit or misses on this technology.
The components does seem pretty cool. You just write stuff in one area and throw a tag in, and it's cool.
Yeah, I'll take that. It is pretty awesome. I love that because you just got to put one tag in there. It does all your work for you. I love that about it. All right,
I
so what I
love how
did was
real
that
time. I love
Yeah.
how real time things are with it too. Like you make a change, it's like instant. You can see it very, very instant.
the hot reloading, yeah, absolutely. That helps out so much because you don't have to go back in and remember to refresh every time. It does it for you.
Mhm.
So no, I
Exactly.
completely agree. So what I did was I did ng serve here. It started it up. I put that up there. And then when I did that, I went to localhost :4200. Remember 4200 is that port number that Angular likes to put our websites or web applications at. All right. That being said, let's keep going on here. Review the starter code. Starter code for this studio is similar to the solution for the first mission planner, but with a few notable changes. We'll just go ahead and look through it real quick. So we go into SRC for source. We go into the app because that's where all of our stuff is. We see the crew, the equipment, experiments, and header. This is everything we had for the last studio. I do recall this header was a little different though. I don't remember header too much. Excuse me. So yeah, it looks like mission name. So I don't remember doing this, but this is cool that they did this. And it looks like they have some, look at this. They have some events here that call to specific functions, update mission. That means if this is here, update mission has to be in that TS file. So let's go see that. We come down here, update mission is in the TS file, and I just want to see what it does. All right, neat. So this is a notable change that they did do. So hopefully you all saw this as well. So let's keep going here. So on a 29.8.2.1, editable mission name. The mission name can now be edited by clicking on the text, change the text in the input box, and then updating by clicking save or pressing the enter key. Review the code in the header.component.html and the TS. Look at that. We just did that to see how the feature was implemented. Now, this is what I do want to go over with you all a little bit slower here. So yeah, going to the HTML file, we see the keyup.enter. This is something we didn't see in lecture. So I want to get all of your take on it. Did anyone look a little bit into this and have anything that they wanted to talk about in particular with this? So this is a specific event here, keyup.enter. Anybody have any questions about this?
So would this be used to like for like how can I put it, a text form? Would it be for that?
It could. Remember, did you ever use Instant Messenger or even Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
So when you are typing your message, when you press enter, the enter key, it sends it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So when you press that enter key down, no event happens. When you lift your finger up, key up on that enter button, this event gets triggered. So when the key comes up, the event gets triggered. When the key goes down, nothing happens. Down to that minuscule level, yeah, those are events here that we can have on our keyboards. So when your key goes up, the message gets sent. When the key goes up here, update mission occurs, AKA they update the name of the mission. Does that kind of give a little bit more clarity on that?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Weema, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say, the instruction said if you click save or if you hit enter. So I was just gonna say, I didn't look up keyup.enter, but I just thought it was, if you hit enter, then it would be like hitting the save button.
Yeah, so they're absolutely correct. So look at this very closely. They have two different events here that call to update mission both. One is keyup.enter, when that enter button is released. And then they have when you click the save button, AKA click here, that click event, and you press save. So 2 times this mission or update mission function gets called. So they're absolutely right. 2 different events will fire the same function. So good thing to point out there.
But you can also assign that to any key you want, right? They just have it enter at this time?
Absolutely. If I just wanted to do key up on P, we can do that as well. It's all whatever you want it to be. Enter is just the social norm, essentially, whenever you want to finish typing something.
Right. I guess what I was getting at is the enter doesn't necessarily stand for it will enter the information, but it's the key specifically that is, if it is released, it will submit.
That is exactly correct. Enter is the name of the key, not the action itself. Awesome. Yep. Very good call out there. So yeah, enter is the name of the key there. If some of the things that you might see, I forgot what this actually supports, but control, you can do also backspace, things like that. Those are all also key names too. You'd have to look up an exact naming convention for the keys in Angular because sometimes they do different names depending on whatever technology you're using. But yeah, it is definitely the name of the key. Awesome,
Can you
awesome.
program it to be 2 buttons at the same time? Kind of like control copy or control C is copy and control V is paste?
That's a good question. I don't know how to do 2 keys at once.
Okay, I just didn't know if you know off the top of your head.
Yeah, because
No,
you
'cause-
like using like a comma in it, like you would what a parameter.
No, unfortunately you can't. These events are very specific to a specific key or a specific event. So the event would have to exist in the document manager, in the DOM, to have this control C or something like that. So that's a very interesting one. I've never actually been asked that question. If you look into it, let me know. I'll also look into it. But no, at least in my, this is also, take it with a grain of salt, this is my understanding. No, you can't do that. The events are predetermined. So you'd have to find that specific event that's a control C or control V or something like that and edit it from there. Great question. Yeah, I want to look into that. All right, any other questions before we move on? All right, otherwise I'm going to save this and we're going to keep going here. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. So we are running our server because we did ng serve. So let's go back over to here. And why exactly are you? Okay, so this is our mission name. Why is mission name not editable? Let's see. What does our stuff say?
You have to click on it in order for it to
Oh,
activate.
I do, don't I? Okay, yes, you were absolutely right. Okay, editing mission, click. Oh my gosh, thank you very much. All right, so let's see. There, oh, that's awesome, isn't it? All right, Kyle's mission. There you go, very cool. Let's try it again. Kyle's mission, exclamation point, but I press enter this time, still works. Very neat. Awesome, awesome. All right. No other questions here. We're going to go on to 29.8.2.2, crew array of objects. Open up the crew component.ts in VS Code. Notice that on line 10, the crew array is defined. The array of objects will be used to display the crew. Each member has, okay, each crew has stuff. So let's go and open up that first before we continue that. Not that one, I need this one. There we go. So it looks like it has a name and a first mission, false or true. So that's a Boolean. And it is an array of objects. Awesome. I mean, okay, so it says that, yes, they have a name, and then if the first mission is true, this means it's their first mission into space. Awesome. So that is what we explored. Any questions on the crew component, what we just had to explore before we move on to 29.8.3? All righty. Now let's keep doing that. Edit the rocket name. The rocket name should be clickable and editable like the mission name. Alter header.component.html and header.component.ts to allow the user to edit the rocket name. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to edit the rocket name now. Let's go into the header. It said it needs to be able to edit the rocket name. So I'm going to find that rocket name. There we go. So we have to make this carrier rocket, the Plasma Max, actually be editable. So let's go ahead and do that. So it looks like it's down here. So here is where our rocket name is at. And I'm going to scoot this over here a little bit so we have some more space. Perfect. So first things first, usually what I do is that I want to actually just grab this and copy and paste it. So it looks like this is both an H3. That. So when I know that the code is going to be very similar, I'm going to just paste in the block of code that I know that works from above, and I'm going to edit it below. The risk about this is I have to make sure that I edit all the necessary pieces as I'm moving through this. So we have to really keep a close eye on that. All right, so carrier rocket name. So that doesn't have it up there. It looks like mission name should be rocket name. So this is gonna be easy fix right here. So let's do that. So now I can remove that. There we go. So got the low hanging fruit done. Let's keep going. So onto this editing mission, else mission, edit mission block. Okay, editing mission. This right here is telling me that it is a variable, but I'm trying to find where the variable is. I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing it here. Those are our two variables here. So I'm assuming it might be in our TS file. Looks like it is editing mission false. And it looks like up here. So we have this editing mission. So I'm going to copy and paste this Boolean because it looks like editing mission uses it. So I'm going to say editing rocket here needs to be created. There we go, also false. Perfect. All right, so now we have our editing rocket. So instead of editing mission here, I'm going to say editing rocket. And this is a very common way of just copying over very, very close code, essentially, to basically save us a little bit of time. Okay, so it says editing rocket, and then did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. Okay, editing as one T. I'm gonna save that. And then it says else editing mission block. So we didn't go over this in the lecture a lot. So what this means is that, okay, if editing rocket is false, then show this. If it's true, then else show edit mission block. Edit mission block is down here as a template here. So if else and it hits this and puts this as true, it will show this ng template. So that's what this conditional is telling us here. So we're not going to call it edit mission block here. We're going to call it edit rocket block.
Did you say if editing rocket, if the if statement is if editing rocket is false?
Right, because if editing rocket is false, we see this exclamation point here. This means is false. False times false is true, or false plus false would be true. So basically the negation of false is true. So what it means is that, okay, if editing rocket is false, then show this, meaning don't show me the text box, show me just the word, or show me just the value of rocket, what is it, rocket name.
Didn't we make editing rocket false?
Exactly. By default, we made it false in here in the TS component. So by default,
yeah, so then the exclamation point in front of it, but I would read it as it would then be true because it's not false.
Correct, exactly right. So if it's true, what would show up here in this conditional?
That
text, would the text box or just the text show up?
If it was true, if it's true, then the span editable text.
So just the text would show up. So if editing rocket was false, what shows up? The text box or the span?
If it is false, then the that bottom part. If the way I'm reading it, if it is false, then that edit rocket block.
If editing rocket, and Eva, you're correct. If editing rocket is false, if editing rocket is false, then what would show? The span or the text box?
If it's false, then
So
I would say the edit rocket block part. I can't tell which one is the text and which one is the editing portion.
So the top right here, the span, is the text portion, and then down here with the input would be the text box portion. So editing rocket, if it's false, this exclamation point means the negation, the opposite of false. What is the opposite of false?
It's true.
True. So therefore, if it's true, that means this span will show.
Okay.
So if editing rocket is false, then this span will show because the opposite, this exclamation point of false, is true. So that's where it's very, very confusing. So I completely get it. It's hard. It took me quite a second to wrap my head around it, but just letting you know that this means a negation. So it would show the span by default right off the bat. All right. So we have that. And if it is in fact true, AKA false, then else show this edit rocket block, which is down here. So I have to keep going through here and changing this. So by click, we want to set editing to rocket to true. Instead of mission, we want rocket. And down here, we need to change rocket. And then, oh, right here, we need to change to rocket. Because remember, rocket is to this variable right here on line 20. So we need to make sure that we are updating all of these references from mission to rocket. Here is no longer mission name, it's rocket name. And now we have an issue here. We have update mission. Update mission is, again, to update the mission that's above it in its text whenever save is pressed. But we don't want to do that anymore. We want to save the rocket name. So let's go back in where all of our functions created. Where are all of our functions saved and created at in our components? What file?
Component.ts.
Very good, the TS file, awesome. So we go back over to the TS file here, and instead of update mission, we're gonna copy this because I'm a lazy programmer as always. Say update rocket, just like that. And we you know what, we can keep updated name, that's completely fine. Instead of mission name, we're gonna say rocket name, and editing rocket equals false, because we're gonna set that back to false. So the text box will go away once we press save, or if we press enter, one of those two. So we save that, there we go. Perfect. And so now we update, update mission to update rocket. There we go, copy that, save that. All right. So before we test this out, any questions or any comments up until this point?
Just interested to see if this works because I have exactly that, and I had been trying to figure out why this wasn't working. So if it works for you, I'm gonna be upset.
All right, well, that is some pressure on my part. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's go ahead and refresh this. Let's make sure it's running. It is running. All right, moment of truth. Plasma Max. All right, that's going in there. Save it. Looks like it's going. I'm sorry to anger anyone tonight. Let's go ahead and go back to that code, and I'll let you take a double look at that. But it looks like that is working. Any questions about what this did now that we see that it works? I just saw Darren. I just saw your comment. Yeah, what's up?
For the click where it says editing rocket equals true, is that something? Is that a variable we made, or is that a default value of some sort?
Which line are we looking at? I apologize.
17, line 17 under 17. The click where it says editing rocket equals true. Did we make the variable
editing rocket?
Yeah.
We did. That was our first step.
Okay.
So we went over the TS file here and we created this editing rocket. This was the one variable we had to create here in this TS. We had to create a variable, which was editing rocket, and we had to create a function down here, which was update rocket. So those were the two things we added here. All right, any other questions? Eva, how are you feeling about this? What's your feeling toward this? All good? 2 thumbs up? All right, that's what I like to see.
Thumbs up.
All right. We all good here? Good. All right, let's keep going then. Let us keep going. Whew. On to 29.8.3.2, use *ng4 to display the crew. Replace the static list of LI tags in the crew component.html with the ng4 that loops over the crew array. Add this to the component.html. Awesome. Okay, so it is copy and paste. Isn't this nice? All right, so it said it was in the crew HTML. So let's go and do that. So we have to go up to crew, go to HTML. There it is. There's that static stuff. We need to get out of that. So I copied I highlighted all of that, and then I just pasted in this. Perfect. Let's go and make sure that runs. See, the crew is still all of these people. Perfect. Awesome. Any questions about that? Alrighty. 29.8.3.3, display first mission status. If a crew member's first mission property is true, then display the text -first next to their name. Ooh, this is a fun one. Okay, let's see what we can do here. So, I'm going to play next to that. See what we can do. Okay, add this code right after the member's name, the crew.component.html. Okay, good. They gave it to us. I was like, okay, are we doing span? We are doing span. Thankfully, they get that. So we need to find where we're going to put this. And they said next to the crew member's name. Now, make sure when you put it next to the crew member's name, you're putting it inside this LI. So you want to put it actually inside of here. And I'm just going to put this to another line just to make it look a little bit nicer for all of us. So that is how I'm going to do that one. So I just did it for readability. You can definitely put it all within one line if you wanted to. Just make sure that that span is within the LI tags on the right-hand side of the member.name. So we'll save that and let's see if this works. So it looks like Ellen right here is our first, it is her first mission into space, and it looks like it is showing up properly. Looks like, I don't like how there's no space there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here and let's see if I can just add a space there really quick. Maybe that will fix it. There we go, now we're getting a little bit of a space, perfect. That looks a lot nicer. My OCD is calm again. All right, feel free to throw out those questions if anyone has them. Otherwise, I'm moving on to 29.8.3.4, add crew members. Allow crew members to be added to the list. To create a new crew member, 2 pieces of information are required: crew member's name and the first mission status. We will use an input box and a checkbox, and oh, it is checkbox. Okay, checkbox to collect the data. Add this code to the bottom of the crew.component.html. All right. This is nice. I do like these copy and paste things. Okay, so it says on the bottom of the crew.component.html. So I'm going to put it down here. There we go. Save that. Make sure everything refreshes properly. We should get a text box down here. We do. Awesome. All right. It goes through what the lines do. The first line is that input, and then it does hashtag name, making it into a variable with the type text label first mission, and then adds that checkbox in there. And then, of course, the save, that button on the third line there to actually add the name, the first mission.checked. Now, this add on the third line, I know that we have not seen that before. Thankfully, in the next section, it looks like in the source/app/crew/crew.component.ts file, include the add function. So that's what I'm going to do here. We didn't have that add function before, so now we need to add it. So I go to crew.component.ts. I got to make sure I'm within the class. Make sure you are within the class when you paste this. AKA, you should not be outside of this last curly bracket. Triple check yourself there. But we have now put this add in there. Let's keep moving on before we actually try to add anything. Okay, it looks like we're all good there. So let's go ahead and hop into our stuff. Refresh just to make sure. And we're gonna say Kyle, and it's definitely my first mission in this space. And I add that, and look at that. We're doing it. And we're gonna say that Sarah, whatever, Sarah K is not her first mission, and it looks like it's not your first mission. There is no first put there. So it looks like this is working properly. Any questions on what we've done so far?
Could you go back to the code real quick? Is that inside
Absolutely.
the NG on it? Oh,
You're looking
outside
for
of
the
that.
TS or HTML?
Oh no, you're good to go. Back to the HTML.
HTML, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, the TS.
The TS, okay. There we go.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I got it.
Awesome, awesome. Alrighty. So we're going to move on to 29.8.3.5, remove crew members. Allow removing of crew members by adding a button next to each person in the crew list. When the remove button is clicked, the remove function in the crew component should be called, which deletes the person from the crew array. Add line 4 to the crew component HTML. Make sure that you put it before the li. Okay. So there we go. So we have to be very, very careful here. We need to copy only line 4 here, the button, and that's where we're going to put in this crew component. I'm going to put it down here. So I only put line 4 there. Don't copy the entire thing. It says it calls on click to this function remove. We don't have that function yet, so we get an error if we tried to run this. So luckily they give us the function that we need to actually put into our component or crew.component.ts in order for it to run. So that's what I'm going to do now. I copied that. I go over to our crew component TS underneath add. I paste that in, and now I have remove. There we go. So we have now the function that button uses. We're going to come back here. We're going to, it's already refreshed, but I'd just like to do it out of just personal habit. And now I'm going to remove May here. There we go. Removed. I'm going to try me now. Press add. And I'm going to remove me. I made a mistake. W. There we go. Perfect. Any questions up to this point? Go back to the code for a second.
Slow down.
Sorry, I am on a time crunch because I started a little bit late. I'm trying to keep it under an hour here.
Thanks, Kev.
You're welcome. I apologize. So that was removed. I'm also copy and pasting. So if you want me to go over something specifically, let me know.
What is that one? This is going back a long time ago. This line 27, this .crew.splice, and it has index, and then it has the 1. What was the 1 for again?
Absolutely. So splice means that we are going to go into this index wherever and remove this many elements. So 1 means I'm going to remove 1 element.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Great question. Any other great questions? Subpar questions, bad questions, random questions, anything? Nothing? All right. Then let's move on to 29.8.3.6, edit crew members. Finally, we are going to allow the user to edit crew members who have already been added. If the crew member's name is clicked, then edit their name. Then their name should be replaced with text input and a save button when save is okay. So it's kind of like what you were doing with the rocket and the mission name. So only one crew member can be edited at one time. All right. So we need to add a click event to the member name. Put member.name inside of a span that has a click handler. Make li look like the code below. All right, so we're gonna go to the crew.component.html and we're gonna just replace this entire thing, or yeah, replace exactly what's in the HTML with what we have here. So we go back to crew.component.html. I'm gonna highlight 3 through 6 and paste in there and save. So now what we added was the span up here. And when we click it, we run this edit method with the member as the parameter. And of course, we also have that member name there. I know that we don't have that edit function, so I'm hoping that they give us that edit function here shortly. So we need a way of knowing which crew is being edited. Add this property to the crew component in the file, of course, crew.component.ts, the property being member being edited, which represents the crew member who is currently being edited. So I'm going to copy this and add it to that crew.component.ts file. There we go. So I'm going to add it right here. All right, any questions about why we're adding this at all? Okay, we'll keep going then. Next, add an edit function to the crew component in that crew.component.ts file. This function will set a member being edited variable to be equal to the crew member who has been clicked. So that's what we're going to do here. This is what I was looking out for. So we're going to go back to that crew.component.ts, go below remove, and paste that into edit. There we go, save that. So when a member comes in here, it gets set to that class variable, member being edited. I cannot say that tonight. Now we need to add the ngIf that will show the two versions of the member, the display state or the edit state. In the edit state, an input box with the save button will be here. But now the input functionality, make your crew component HTML look like the code below. Okay. Well, I am very happy they gave us this because that was going to be a lot of coding. Hence why I was reading it so closely. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take this entire code block here and we're going to replace crew.html with this. So here we go. So I'm going to take all this and we're going to paste it in there. So I removed the entirety of all of my HTML and I pasted this in there. I save that. Am I going a little bit slower now? Hopefully. I'm trying to go slower.
Yes, sir.
But not put you all to sleep. All right. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. All right. So save that. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to refresh. Okay. We don't have a button yet for, oh no, we do. Okay. That's right. Oh, but it's not showing up. Let's see if we have to keep doing stuff. I don't think we're all the way there yet. Yeah, there it is. Finally, we are going to make the edit state update the member name when save is clicked, update the input and button tags to look like this. All right. So I'm going to copy this portion. I'm going to go back to our text here. Okay, so it says, yeah, right here. Let's make sure. So it says edit state of member, edit state of member. So I know I'm in the right spot. I'm going to paste that in there. My spacing's off. I don't like that. There you go, save that. That's gonna look a lot nicer. I like that too because our value is actually the name of our member.name. If you saw before, when I clicked the name, it would just open up an empty text box. I don't like that. I wanna see the actual name I'm gonna be editing. So I need this value to be pre-populated. Cool. Last step is to add the save function to the crew component. This function will be called when the button is clicked or when the key enter is pressed and the input. Perfect, because we see save here as that function that has not been introduced yet. So we copy this entire line. We're going to go back to that TS file in the crew. Press enter twice. There we go. And now save is in there. And it looks like what we're going to do is that we're going to take in that new name and we're going to set the member's name using bracket notation for our object instead of dot notation and set the name to whatever we edited as whatever we change it to. Yes, that name. And then of course we're going to set it back to null so that text box goes away when we press save. So it goes back to normal. So there we go. Edited, one of those. I don't know. I'll practice this in the mirror later. So let's go ahead and make sure that works. Let's go and refresh this now. So we're going to go ahead and say, all right, May, you're going to be now name is Make. Press enter. And now Make Jamison is there. But I was like, oh, it shouldn't be Make, it should be May. Say May, and then we say save. There we go. So it looks like it's working properly. We got this going. Let's go ahead and just try to add something in here now too. Kyle, press enter. Kyle W. Then we press save, and it looks like everything is working properly. So that is the end of our normal mission. So any questions up until this point? Anything at all? Nothing? Crickets? Everybody got it? Is everyone feeling a little bit better about events? Like a little bit? Please give me a thumbs up. Anything? No? Like meh? Yeah. I just see some people holding the stern face like, I'm not getting you anything. Nope, Kyle, you ruined my night. I'm done with you. Like, okay, fine. Just trying to help. All right. All right, fine. Tough crowd, tough crowd.
Can I be honest?
Yes, Andrew, please.
I feel like all this copying and pasting, I'm not really retaining any information. I guess I'm knowing how it's structured, but I'm not really understanding like the finite information of what the tags are and the elements are within all of these tags.
And I understand that, and I get that. We are doing that, or the book is structured that way because we only do 3 classes of Angular. So to get into the nitty gritty would be not unnecessary, but just not a waste of your time either, just something that we're not going to be doing in this portion of class. This is really to give you a taste of Angular and not really challenge you too much with it, as you've noticed through all of our classes as well as the studios and exercises. It's really just to give you kind of just a taste of the framework, just because Angular itself, just like JavaScript, is a very, very large topic. So I completely understand that. If you want to go more into it or go deeper into it, hopefully these classes give you the understanding to start digging, but it shouldn't give you the understanding where this is going to be your typical go-to framework. So no, completely get that. Copy and pasting does not typically help people retain that much, at least not for me. So I get that, but hopefully that offers a little bit of clarity of why we don't go too deep into it. Just because
Totally
Java's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I would honestly take I would teach Angular. Honestly, I'd teach React. Don't tell launch code, but I'd totally teach you guys React too if I could, because that's more fun. But you have to know JavaScript before you do any of that. So that's what we want to focus on the most here. But it's good that I'm happy they introduce you guys to this. All right. So we are done here with the beginning of our studio, and we're going to go on to 29.8.4, the bonus missions. If you have to hop off, feel free to, but I'm going to finish this in its entirety. So feel free to hang on if you'd like. All right. Before starting on any of these bonus features, make sure you commit and push your work. I guess I will do that real quick. So as always, what I'm going to do is just Control C and say git add -a or git add period, either one you want to do. Git commit -am completed studio. There we go. And I'm not going to push my work there. I'm just going to commit it. I might push it later, but I usually just commit. I don't like to push anything up there. All right, on to 29.8.4. And what I'm going to do while I'm doing that too is, let's see, do I have to create another component anywhere in here? Nope. Okay. So what I'm going to do is ng-serve just to get that started. And don't allow duplicate names to be added to the crew. Oh, wow. Okay, they're going to really make us do all this, aren't they? I am gonna do that, I guess. Okay, so what we need to do is under add, what we need to do is we need to do some validation. All of these, it looks like we're gonna be doing some validation. So allow user to add equipment, to edit equipment, remove. Okay, so these are gonna be add, edit, removes. That's fine. This one is that looks like it's gonna be the only duplication or only validation. So don't allow duplicate names to be added to the crew. What I'm gonna do is that I am going to just, you can do this in two ways. You can do a for each with an anonymous function, but we don't usually go that route. I try to do more for loops. So I'm gonna leave it up to you. Would you all like to see a anonymous function with possibly a filtering or a for each, or would you just like to see validation done with a for loop over the array? I will give that option up to you all. Which way would you like to see? The for loop?
For loop over the array is my
For loop
vote.
over the array. All right, sounds good. So what I'm gonna do is always, I'm gonna start with my for loop. So for let I equal 0, I less than, and then we're looking through the crew array here. So we're gonna say crew, it's an array because I see it and starts and ends with square brackets. So I say crew.length, plus plus. There we go. And I'm gonna say this.crew. So it stops complaining with me. And this means, again, it's a class variable. This means that it's up here outside of any function. So it's obtainable that way. So now what I need to do is that if this.crew at index I, and it's an object, so I need to call to the specific property within the object. So I say dot name, trying to get this property up here using that key. If the crew I dot name, I need to say return, aka get out of this function. I don't want you to add. This is one way you could do it. So I could say, oh, sorry, crew dot name equals member name. There we go. So what this does is that if my crew at index I's name equals my member's name, then return and get out of that function. What this does is that once we return, it will never come down to this push. Hence, it will never add the name to the array. Hence, we don't allow duplicates now into our array by using this for loop. Let me see what this error is right here. Oh, you're just being mean. Stop it. So any questions about this one? You're gonna see this red line here. It's nothing that's going to stop us from compiling. It's just saying that name does not exist on an object. This is just a very big TypeScript error. Let's see if I can get it out with bracket notation. Oh, it can. There we go. Ha! Beat you, TypeScript. All right. Any questions on this one, how we did this validation? Let's go and see if it works. Let's go back over here, go to our mission planning thing. So what I want to do is I'm going to try to add Ellen. I'm going to add the whole thing here. Oop, now I want to copy you, paste you, save that, press add. Look at that, I keep pressing add, nothing is adding because that for loop is helping us validate all of that. So we are good there. Step one done. Let's keep going. Allow user to add equipment. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is, where am I going? I need to go to HTML. What we're gonna do, okay, so this is how they do the crew. Let's go and see equipment here. So really what this is gonna be doing is that it's going to be doing some repetitive work here on equipment. So what was the next one? Yeah, it was equipment. So let's go ahead and see what they did for crew. This guy, okay. Up to here, so we have this. All right, so I'm going to be going a little bit quicker through this because it's going to be some repetitive work. So what we have to do is that we have to create an array of all of our equipment. So what I'm going to say is that I'm just going to call it equipment, EQIP MENT, and it's going to be a string, string equals into that array of equipment. I'm going to go to my HTML here, copy this, go to this, not that again. put this all into the array. I might only do one of these just because it is going to be completely better unless there's something different. There we go. So I just added that. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go over to my crew.html and I'm going to grab this one right here. So I'm going to be creating my list items for all of that. Go back over to my equipment.html. Instead of this, I'm going to paste this in here. So now instead of member of crew, I need equipment. I'm going to call it equip, EQIP, and that is going to be what my variable is going to be called. There we go, /li. So let's go and make sure that's working real quick before we continue on. So all of our equipment is still showing up. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to take what we see in the crew.component here. So we're going to take all of this and we're going to do exactly what we just did with the other one. So what I just did was copied the entirety of what we just did in the previous, in the crew.ts, and I'm going to put it into the equipment.ts. So I'm going to take out the constructor there and paste that in there. So we get a few red lines there. That's not a problem. We're going to start up here with member being edited. We're going to say equipment being edited. Remember, this is keeping track of what equipment in that ordered list is actually being edited. So we can say equipment being edited. We come down here, equipment name. Equipment. Oh, and this was actually, we don't actually need this for add. It did not ask us to do the validation on that one. So we actually remove that. Okay, equipment name, and I totally spelled equipment wrong, didn't I? Oh, because that is not an object anymore in equipment. It is just that. There we go. So we removed it pushing an object. We put it just at pushing a string. Because remember, equipment is just a string array, not an object array like it was in the crew. So member index, member, so instead of member, we need to do equipment name. Stop it. There we go, equipment name. Oh, and that should not be an object, that should be a string. There we go. So as you can see, what I'm doing is starting from the top and moving my way to the bottom of just editing things that I know are no longer usable for equipment that they were for crew. Remember, crew was an object, this was a string. So instead of editing a member, I'm going to edit, of course, the equipment, and it should be a string as well. I'm going to say equipment name, because that's what it's going to be. Equipment being edited, it's going to be the equipment name. That's correct, because equipment name is an object. It should actually be a string. No. There we go. Save that. Perfect. So instead of, let's say equipment name. Oh, dang it, dang it, dang it. That's what it's going to have us do. That's going to have to be an index. That's going to be a number. So we have to keep track of it. So the thing about numbers versus, the crew versus the equipment is that we could keep track of members because it was an object. So we keep track of it by its reference for our members, for our crew members, but for equipment, we're going to have to keep track of it by its index. This is just a string array. Let's see, let's make sure I'm actually doing what it's saying. Yeah, because it says edit, add, and remove equipment. So what it's going to be is that it's going to be equipment. That's all right. So, you know what, instead of equipment being, that's what I'm going to have to do here too, is that instead of equipment being edited, it's going to have to be a number, it's going to be the index. Index of Document being edited. There we go. Should be number. Okay, so that's one thing I really do want to explain is that in here, remember so for members, and something that we don't really get too much into in class, but for the objects here in this, we never had to keep track of the index because we can keep track of it by its reference. Each of these objects have a unique address assigned to them. The reference address of each of these objects. When it gets to strings, when it comes to a string arrays, we don't have that unique reference. What we have for unique in arrays or arrays of strings are its index. So we have to keep track of the index now instead of just the member itself. So let's go and see if we can do it this way. Just a heads up, you can do the exact same thing here with the experiments as well. Let me make sure that I'm not blowing smoke, but I'm only going to do it for this one just for time. Yeah, because it's just strings as well. So if you want to do this for experiments, it's the same exact thing, but I'm going to be doing it just for this one. All right, if it works, otherwise I'll have to do it again. So what I need to do now is we have completed the TS, at least theoretically. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy all of this again, and we're going to bring it over to equipment and do the exact same thing there now. So instead of here, what we do is paste that, take that out, equipment. Yeah, QU, IP, mint. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, we'll have to go by reference still. See if that actually works. Let's see. It does, doesn't it? Okay. Edit. We might have to go by that, don't we? Let's see. We might go back just because this for loop is very, very specific. So this is the fun part of coding with Kyle here, is exploring what we actually need to do. Okay, so we don't actually need this first portion anymore. Set that, we need to remove equip. There we go. See if it actually works. So if not, here's the updated name. We can keep that, but we will have to remove that. That's fine. Put that there. Add name. Okay, we don't need the first mission anymore, so I'm removing that. We still have the name up here. We can call it more, though, equipment name instead, just to keep it a little bit more better with that. And so we take that out because we don't need to do the first mission anymore. That means we're going to go back to the TS here in equipment, and we're going to actually take out on add. Okay, it's already been removed. Perfect. So let's go and say that. Let's see what works and what doesn't work exactly. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this back to string, and I know I'm going to get an issue here. String. There we go. So let's try this first, and if it doesn't work, let's go back to TS. What was that exactly? What did I have to change back? There's gonna be some issue with that. There we go. We're going to take out that. So we need to get the index there. So we're going to say index, perfect equipment name. Okay, save that. Let's see what's going to work and what's not going to work. This is all a part of the debugging process. What are we exactly going to do? Or like, what do we need to actually? So that looks like that. The drones. That didn't work. Let's try adding something. Okay, that works. Remove works, remove works, remove, save, remove. So the only thing that's not working right now is the save. So let's go ahead and, so we have remove done, we have add done. So let's go ahead and try to do save here. So save equipment name. Let's go ahead and see. Let's go to console log our index whenever it gets it back. If it's -1, that means it didn't find it. So I have my console over here. Remember, to get to your console, you right click and then press inspect and then come up to the console tab. Over here, I'm going to say food containers. I'm going to put an exclamation point behind it, press save. And I see it's -1. So it did not find it. Did not find it. So, oh, you know what? That's what it is. It needs the old name and the new name. So what we're doing is trying to find the index of this equipment using the new name. So it's never going to find it. New equipment name. So we use the old equipment name to find the index, and then we save the new equipment name to that. So I updated this function. Now I have to go over to the HTML and update that. So what I need is under save. So there's updated name, but I need the original. I need the original name. So I'm going to take this equip from the loop here, paste it there. There we go. Let's try to do this now. Food containers. There we go. Now it's updating there perfectly. So what we got to do is take the old name, use that to find the index, and then take that index and save the new name to that index in the array. That's what we did specifically. I'll go back to the code there so everyone can take a look at it. But this is how we can set up this part of the studio here. So that was a toughie. And also everything we just did again for equipment can be done or recycled for experiments too. So I'm not going to do experiments tonight just because that'd be repetitive work. So let me take a quick look here at the very bottom. For sanity check, complete the code for the studio with the bonus time. Okay, yeah. Just for you all, since you stuck around, I will go ahead and push this out. If anybody wants to hop on the repo or on my repo and find it to get this code for yourselves as well. So I'm going to push this up here right now, but any questions about any of this? I know as always with the studio or with the bonus missions comes a little extra fun. So let me know if you want me to go over anything.
Do you mind going back over to the equipment TS5?
For sure. There you go. Anywhere specific?
Oh yeah, down there by the save.
There we go. It's all pushed up too if anybody wants to hop on that tonight to see it on my repository or on my GitHub. Besides that, any final questions? Anything else that you guys want to see? That was an interesting one. We didn't even have to get into events that much. We just had to, like almost a lot of logic. Kind of looks sold, kind of don't look sold. They're like, I don't know what to make heads or tails of this. Can't tell if you're all enjoying yourself or just like, what the heck? I'll take what the heck. That
Yeah,
was like,
it's kind of shaky. Like if I were riding on a green bike or something, you know, or
like a Lime scooter or something. Are you're throwing me under? Are you throwing me under the Lime scooter again? Dang it, Jason. That's two. That's two right there. I'm on like 4 hours of sleep today, and you are just rolling me right now. Oh my gosh. I don't have any energy to defend myself other than you are absolutely correct. pure stupidity tonight on my part. Oh my gosh. Oh, all right, y'all. Well, then in that case, I'm going to hit the hay. So if anybody needs anything, feel free to direct message me. But all the stuff's out there, all the code's out there, and videos will be out there tomorrow. So keep me posted. Thanks for staying
Thanks a
out
lot,
here with
Kyle.
me tonight. Hey,
Thank
yeah,
you.
thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right.
Just the best, man.
Thanks, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Bye, everybody.